Hey everyone, welcome to You Cannot Rewatch, episode 10 of the Evangelion Rewatch podcast. As always, I am David.
And I am Dylan.
And first off, this podcast is late this week. Sorry about that. We've been really busy. We've both been very busy. Haven't really had the time to come together and do this. But we're actually recording it right now, and I'm planning on, as soon as we're done recording, immediately started editing and uploading it. So it should be up today. We're recording it on Saturday. So if you're listening to it on Saturday, it came out today. Usually we record earlier in the week, and I have the week to edit it, but I'm going to try to push this one out. Not that it takes long to edit these, but yeah, so episode 10, make sure you watched it or are familiar with it, all that jazz. And yeah, it's actually, because I was planning on recording earlier in the week, it's actually been several days since I've watched the episode. So
good.
Normally, when we record this podcast, even when we had just both watched the episode, there's already details where we're like, oh wait, I can't remember how this happened. So having done it a week ago, it's going to be really bad this time. So
I watched it just yesterday, so.
Oh, okay, cool. So like I thought, this was Magma Diver.
Yes.
That's what I guessed it was last week, and I was right. It's Magma Diver. And I don't know, what do you think about Magma Diver?
Magna Diver's like, I got a weird vibe from Magna Diver. It seems like there's a lot of important information sprinkled in a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not an episode of Evangelion.
Yeah.
It's so bland. It's not like it's terrible. I don't think it's like unwatchable.
No.
But compared to how good and deep the show gets and usually is, it's just kind of like so regular.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just nothing Evangelion about it. There's nothing special about it that makes it a better show that normally is there. Also, real quick, I just wanted to throw this in. There's probably a little bit more noise coming from my microphone than usual. I have my fan on because it's super hot. So it's almost November. Why is it so hot?
I don't know. Today was super hot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That I don't know if that applies to anybody else listening. I have no idea where our listeners are from. But that's unrelated. Well, it's related because we're talking about Magma Diver.
Exactly.
They have to go into lava. I could use one of those big inflatable suits right now. All right. So, yeah, this episode starts out. We find out there's a school trip that some of the kids are going to go on. They're going to go scuba diving and do some other stuff. We've mentioned this before, and obviously anybody who's watched the show in the rebuilds know this. But this is an interesting thing in the show because in the rebuilds, we actually see them get to go on a school trip to like an aquarium place.
Right, but that school trip's kind of weird because it's not all the kids. It's the reverse. Instead of all the students going, it's just the pilots go. And they get to bring their friends.
Yes, it's almost like when they go to pick up Asuka and they bring Toji and Kinsuke along. It's kind of similar to that because it's just the pilots and then those two. So yeah, it's not a school trip, or at least I don't think it's supposed to be.
It's not.
It's because Misato and Kaji decided. I think it was Kaji that actually wanted to take them there. He says that in the rebuilds, and Misato's just kind of along for.
I just watched the rebuild last weekend.
Oh really?
Yep.
It's been so long because I've watched it. I want to rewatch it, but I kind of want to. I assume we're going to get there eventually if we keep doing this. So, but yeah, I just think it's an interesting parallel to have put that kind of field trip into the movies since you couldn't. I mean, that they didn't get to do that in the show. So even though it's different than it would have been, it's kind of interesting that it's like you have that parallel kind of running there.
Right.
So what do you think that trip was like? Do you think Kinsuke and Toji had a lot of fun? I assume Kinsuke took a lot of pictures of all the girls. They're like in their swimsuits and stuff.
I bet there's like some secret website that's just all the photos he took from that trip that will
probably. It'll be like the old Disney Flash Mountain secret website.
Yeah.
That's a reference probably nobody listening to this will get. So instead of going scuba diving, the pilots decide that they're going to swim in a little pool, which I guess is the next best thing, I suppose.
Yeah, I love this scene.
You what?
I love this scene a lot.
The Asuka chemistry lesson?
That one, yeah, and I just have in my notes just Shinji boner because that's pretty much the entire scene's about.
This is one of the first scenes. We got a little bit of tension, I think, in the last episode between those two, but this is, I think, the first big like sexual tension scene with Shinji, because even when when like Asuka was in the room with them or whatever, it wasn't necessary. I guess it was kind of a sexual thing. It wasn't totally a sexual thing, but this time it's like blatant, like, hey, Shinji's definitely. I mean, I think any guy's kind of been in a situation It's kind of like that when you're in like middle school or high school. Not exactly that where a girl's like asking you to grab her boobs or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know what everybody else in middle school is like. But we see even though Shinji is definitely interested in Asuka, he's still kind of looking back onto Rei during this scene, which Asuka takes note of and tries to kind of be show-offy about that. So already we're kind of seeing it set up that Asuka does have feelings for Shinji, like legitimate interest in him, but she's kind of jealous of how he won't really reciprocate that.
Right.
And while it does seem like he feels some of that, I mean, how is Shinji going to reciprocate anything at his mental stage?
Well, by getting thermal expansion, dude.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a minute.
One other thing about that scene is how stupid the close-up of Asuka's boobs are. Because, like, it shows, like, Shinji's checking her out. There's no cleavage. It's just one big fucking huge zipper.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, when you're in middle school, I mean, you'll look at anything.
That's true.
That's
true.
I mean, that's kind of how that is.
Yeah.
So we see they discover an angel in a volcano.
Right.
So I guess they decide they need to take this angel or capture this angel because it's important to have a live specimen. Is kind of what they say. I don't get why though. I don't know what. I don't know. I mean, I don't know Gendo's plans or whatever, but I'm sure there's some. If anybody's listening knows, maybe tell us your theory or whatever, because I legitimately don't understand why they would need a live specimen. I mean, they already have Lilith, and now they have Adam. What are they going to do with whatever this angel's name is?
Maybe they probably don't. I don't think was that Gendo's plan to capture it, or is that Masato's plan? Because Masato might not know that they have Adam or Lilith.
Well, yeah, she doesn't know that, but like, yeah, I mean, I can't. Again, it's been a week. I'm pretty sure Gendo. I don't think it was like necessarily his grand plan, but I think he was excited by the idea of capturing a live angel. So it kind of seems like he was interested in it. I don't know. Couldn't we have just left this angel alone?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
mean, it only hatched because we bothered it.
They also kept talking the importance of if the mission fails, second impact happens. But the mission did kind of fail. Like, it hatched.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. They talk about how, I guess they do kind of say if it does get loose, just kill it immediately and we should be good. But it's still like, you made it seem like this was going to be the end of the world, and it was just like, this didn't even seem to get close to being a big deal.
No.
It kind of felt like the last angel where it was like, this didn't feel like it was ever a legitimate threat.
No, not at all. I mean, they killed it so quickly.
I get it. We're kind of at the stage in the show where the angels are more background for what's happening with the character stuff, and it's more metaphorical for what's going on in the characters' lives and heads. I get that, but still, I mean, it's kind of a boring episode when the angel's just kind of not doing anything.
Which, yeah, it's that'd be one thing too, but it's just weird to hype it up so much. Like, just let it be a regular day thing. Don't hype it up to be like, oh, something's big gonna happen if it messes up, and then nothing happens. Like,
yeah,
don't do that false hype. That's kind of bullcrap.
Yeah.
Also, it's super annoying that they keep referring to it as the second impact again, or like it's sorry, I guess again the second impact.
Yeah, it'll be the second impact over again. You mean it'd be third impact? That'd be like it's gonna be WW2 again.
Yeah.
Nobody says that. You say this would be like World War III. I mean, that's what everybody says. Nobody says, "Oh man, it's gonna be World War One all over again." But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, just a quick thing about the angel. I'm not an expert on biology. I'm certainly not an expert on biology when it comes to alien angel creatures. But I'm pretty sure, like, they make a big deal out of, like, wow, it can open its mouth in lava. Like, it must be really dangerous because of that. But wouldn't an animal that had, like, evolved to live in that kind of environment not be able to survive at all outside of it?
Most likely, I would assume.
I mean, again, the angels are very different. But, I mean, they're similar. I mean, they say in the show, like, they're essentially similar to how humans...
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I mean, they're the same chemical composition, pretty much. It's like a 97 or something, 99 match or something like that. Obviously, they look drastically different, and they handle very differently, but, like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would be all right if it got out of that volcano.
Yeah.
Seems like we could have just left it in that volcano and said, whatever, you know. But, I mean, we probably would have had to deal with it eventually. I just don't know if we needed this episode. But anyways, so another thing. So they say that it's going to be super hot in there, and they have to put the Evangelion in special armor or whatever. Okay, I get that. That makes sense to me. They put Asuka in a special suit as well, and it's like big and inflatable. I guess that makes sense. I don't know, but then she doesn't wear a helmet.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Like they make a big deal out of like you have to wear this suit because it will keep you cool. I guess it doesn't matter if her head gets exceptionally hot.
I guess as long as you keep the temperature on your chest regulated, it keeps the rest of your body. Isn't that how that works?
I mean, to an extent, yeah, but I mean, like, you couldn't wear, like, a spacesuit into lava, even if it was, like, lava protected, and not wear a helmet and be all right.
That's true.
Like, it would still disintegrate your head. Even your chest would be cooled, your body temperature would be all right, but your head would, like, catch on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it can only regulate it to an extent. I mean, again, maybe someone's going to comment and be like, hey, you guys were completely wrong.
Most likely.
Which, by the way, I don't think I ever pointed this out. But when we were making fun of the plane that took off backwards,
yeah,
that's actually a real model of a plane.
I saw that comment. I was like, we're so dumb.
Apparently, that's a real thing. So this could be another situation where people are gonna be like, no, here's how it works. But still, it didn't. I mean, I get the point of like they wanted to put Asuka in a suit that would make her uncomfortable, but I don't know. Do we need that? We already have that Evangelion in a suit. I don't know if we needed to have that. But we do have Rey volunteer to go in Unit 2, which, is we continue to see Asuka be very jealous of Rey already because it's like, I'm not going to let her step in where I could take this position, which we kind of saw last episode too. But what's interesting to me about this scene is Rey is the one who volunteers. Nobody says, hey, Rey, you should do this.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Rey actually says herself, I'll go. Like, nobody even says, like, hey, we need somebody else to go. And then Rey's like, oh, I guess I'll do it. It's just straight up like, she's just like, I will do it. And I could be wrong, but I think this is, like, the first time in the show we've seen Rey kind of take her own initiative to that level of, like, I'll go on this mission.
And I might have completely misread this, too, but she even asks, too, earlier in the episode, it's like, so I'm not needed in this mission? Kind of thing. Almost like she was surprised or almost kind of disappointed she wasn't.
Yeah, I think that does happen. Yeah, that's interesting that we have that out of Rey already. So what else? We see Kaji meet with somebody. We don't know who they are, some chick. And this is, we see more of like Kaji's, I don't know, he's shady. He's doing something. He's up to something. He's not just the casual, suave guy we know.
Right.
I say that as if people haven't already seen the show and I'm like trying not to spoil something.
He dies.
But, so what else? We I just thought that this is always something I think is funny when they're getting ready to go into the volcano and they see all the Air Force and Shinji's like, "What's that about?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna completely bomb this place if you fail."
Yeah,
I love that part.
Me too.
So they try to capture the Angel in some kind of electromagnetic box. I don't know, which I guess works under lava. But it hatches, they fight it, they use thermal expansion. And this is the part of the episode where it becomes like what you're saying, like Saturday morning cartoon. Because earlier in the episode we had the thermal expansion conversation, and now here we are, and it's like, how do we beat this Angel? Oh yeah, thermal expansion, that fun thing we learned about. It's almost like a science lesson episode.
Yeah.
It's like something you'd expect out of, I don't know, some lame like Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I mean, the immediate jump into like them both saying at the same time was just, it just felt...
It's cheesy.
Yeah,
it's kind of ham-fisted. It's unusual for Evangelion. All right, if there's a hiccup there, sorry, we got disconnected temporarily for some reason. But yeah, anyways, so I think that's kind of what's holding this episode's back is what holds this episode back is just it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, because like there is some like I said earlier, there is some like kind of important information sprinkled in through here.
Yeah.
Like, a lot more people talk about the second impact. You have, like, you see an angel in its, like, beginning stage and stuff like that, and they talk about that.
Yeah.
And you can see how quickly they can just all of a sudden hatch and happen. But then you just have, like, this other bullcrap just thrown in.
Yeah, and again, the ultimate victory is just, like, a couple middle schoolers figured it out from their chemistry homework.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, whatever. Again, I don't think this episode's unwatchable or anything.
No.
I just think Evangelion's better than this.
I agree.
I think if somebody had never seen Evangelion and this was the first episode they saw and they said the show sucked, I would understand why. So anyways, another thing I wanted to bring up I meant to slide this in earlier. So they put Unit 2 in that big suit so that it'll stay in lava, but then when it starts to fall, Unit 1 jumps in after it with no suit and grabs it.
Yeah, that bothered me so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone could say like, well, he wasn't as deep, so the temperature and pressure wasn't at whatever. I don't care. It shouldn't have worked. It was. I don't know. Whatever. I guess.
Like, because if that was the case, if it wasn't a big deal, why didn't he jump in immediately when the angel hatched then?
Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't quite add up. And also, as far as that goes, why if Shinji was waiting there anyways, why wasn't he already just waiting in the suit in case he did need to jump in that situation?
That's a good point.
And I guess in that suit he couldn't have grabbed her that way, but I don't. It just doesn't quite add up. The science in the episode doesn't quite match up with itself.
An episode that's extremely based on science doesn't have science that adds up.
Yeah, man, it's just weird for out of all shows, Evangelion to be like, let's have an episode where we teach kids about thermal expansion.
Yeah,
it's like, this is just not the kind of show this is.
Well, it's like everything has to do with thermal expansion. It even boils down to being like, that's how we defeat the angel, but that's also how we tell you that Shinji is attracted to these women.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So, best part of the episode, though, the redeeming factor, why it's not unwatchable, Shinji gets a package from Kaji.
Yep, I have that in my notes.
Kind of a large package,
yeah.
And Pin is inside. So we get our nice little Pin.
I'm glad we're on the same page on
here,
because that's definitely on my notes, too.
Yep. What else? Okay, so... Oh, no, I'll get to that in a sec. Okay, so, yeah, the thermal expansion thing. So they go to the hot spring to celebrate. And they are separated by, like, a barrier, but I guess they're all naked. Misato and Asuka are on one side, and Shinji's on the other with Pin. And Shinji starts, Misato and Asuka, I guess, get a little playful on the other side.
Yep.
And Shinji... this is what I want to bring up, because it's been a while since I've seen the dub, but since you're watching the dub, I wanted to check this line. I was pretty sure that in the dub, when he gets out of the water and Pin looks at him, he says, like, oh, thermal expansion. Which to me suggests, maybe I read it wrong, but to me I thought what he meant was, I'm out of the water so it's cold, so it shriveled up. That's what I always thought that line meant in the original, was he was, like, embarrassed because it looked small to the penguin. But in the sub, he says, it's growing, which suggests the opposite.
Hold on.
Are you watching it right now?
I am.
Yeah, because you're watching it with the dub with the subtitle still,
yeah,
right?
That's correct.
So we got both lines. So we'll verify.
Boy, they're getting real sexy with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a strange scene.
Yeah. So in the dub, he says thermal expansion. How embarrassing.
Yeah.
But the subtitle says it's expanding. How embarrassing.
Okay. So see, but that I don't know. Maybe he means thermal expansion. It's still growing. But to me, I always took that as since he was standing up out of the hot spring, that it was like super cold and it was shrinking. But maybe it's supposed to mean the both. Maybe it's wow. Let me try that sentence again. Maybe it's supposed to mean the same thing both ways.
Yeah.
But I thought that maybe it meant the opposite thing, which is kind of strange. But I don't know.
Yeah, because expanded feels like it totally has a boner.
Yeah. Yeah, but on the other hand, why is he embarrassed about... I mean, it's just Pin.
It's true.
But I guess Shinji's kind of embarrassed by
everything.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I just realized that I think out of anything in this episode, this is the most we've analyzed and talked about something.
That's probably true.
But anyway, so we do cut over to Asuka and Misato, and we see Misato's scar, I believe, for the first time in the show. Which we find out, later on that she got that during Second Impact. I don't think we ever find out exactly how that scar occurred, though. Like, what specific injury she got that... I mean, I guess she probably got hit by, like, some debris or something, I assume.
Yeah.
I don't think the angel, like, picked her up and cut her open. So I assume something probably fell on her or it got knocked into her. Yeah, and then Misato and Asuka are talking, and Asuka... They bring up Asuka obviously has kind of a weird past, or an interesting past, which is something we find out about later, of course. But this is our first time we actually kind of see a little bit more of Asuka hasn't had the perfect life that we maybe thought that she had. And that is the episode.
That is exactly it.
I don't know if there's anything else to say about Magma Diver, really.
Yeah,
Again, not a terrible episode, but just not. Just I think compared to the show, like how good the show normally gets, it's pretty bad in comparison.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we're kind of in that lull right now where it's just kind of Monster of the Week episodes.
yeah, and those are gonna get good soon.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the next episode is, but I think the next couple will be much better. And then we're gonna get to the one where there's a angel in the computers.
Yeah.
Which is probably my least favorite episode of the show.
I don't remember it being that bad, but maybe I'm gonna be in for a horrible surprise.
Maybe I'll rewatch it and like it more. I don't know. I think I just don't like that one because I've never liked Ritsuko's character.
Yeah.
And that episode's all about her. Upon rewatching the show over and over, there's characters that I didn't like at first that I've grown to like. Like I hated Asuka's character like the first couple times I watched the show, but then like the third time or so, like I really like it clicked with me. I was like, oh, I get her character. I totally understand her.
Right.
She's a great character. But Ritsuko, no matter how many times I watch the show, I've never changed my opinion on her. I've never liked her character.
That makes sense.
I like her a little more in the rebuilds, but her character kind of goes a very different direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've just never been a fan of her. But maybe this time will be different. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, when we get to that episode where we kind of learn about her. But yeah, as far as Magma Diver, that's it. That's a wrap. We got anything else we need to talk about?
No.
We got a couple more comments, but they weren't really comments to discuss. They were just like, hey, this podcast, I like this podcast, that kind of stuff, which is great. We really appreciate that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for leaving those comments. Unfortunately, I don't have written down who left those comments, but thanks if you did it. You know who you are. You know who you are. It's weird to me that I guess just making stuff on the internet, especially because we make videos usually outside of this that are the kind of videos we kind of try to mess with people and get negative comments on purpose. That's kind of our sense of humor, is like we make videos that are purposefully going to draw people in and kind of not give them what they expected. So I guess I just expect negative comments. It's always so weird to me to get like people liking this podcast.
Yeah, it's weird. Or especially making a shitty video and someone's like, oh, this is awesome. This is like, I was not expecting that because it's supposed to be garbage.
Yeah. But it's always surprises me too because like especially on Reddit, I know there's certain subreddits that I'm a fan of that are just like the people in the subreddits are just like they suck. They're just like, I don't know, they suck. But the Evangelion subreddit people are like pretty cool, and we've gotten like a lot of positive feedback from everybody on there, or just however else people found this podcast. So thanks everyone. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back and all that stuff. But yeah, I guess I don't have anything else to say. Next week we're going to be watching episode 11. So either refamiliarize yourself with the episode or rewatch it, as we will be. And I guess I usually say like the subscribe here kind of stuff, but I don't know if I really need to say all that stuff. I'll just say we always love to hear feedback of any kind, especially if you have your own theories or opinions on stuff that happened.
Those are cool.
Don't feel like you need to hold back, like, or like, oh, maybe my theory is not that good. Have you heard our theories on stuff? It's not that great. So we love to hear whatever you think, even if you think we're completely wrong. In fact, especially if you think we're completely wrong, because then we can discuss it and kind of see. Because that's what's so great about the show is people take away different things from it. It's not a show with like clear-cut answers. So I always like to hear what other people have to say about it. So feel free to leave some comments on here. I'll assume that you know where to go to leave comments because I've said it in every other episode. But if you don't, YouTube, email us. All that stuff is in the description on YouTube. And now that's out of the way, we're going to try to get this next one out on time. Sorry this one was late. Again, super busy. Hey, next week, Halloween.
Ooh.
Are we going to do a Halloween special?
Let's do it.
Doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. But next week might be a Halloween special, so look out for that. Unless we're late, I guess if we're late, it wouldn't come out in time for Halloween.
That's going to be that's the trick of the treat.
Yeah, we'll see. Although it's almost funnier if it comes out late.
You either get a treat and it comes out on time, or you get a trick and it's late. So
that's true. Yeah. So either way, we weren't wrong and we did it on purpose.
Yes.
So we'll see you guys then.
Later.
Goodbye.